Madam Speaker, I table a copy of a letter from Rhonda Grist to the Premier. She says that she agrees with the CIHI recommendations that the maximum waiting time for a hip replacement should be 6 months. As she says, based on her experience of waiting 11 months, more than 6 months causes harm to the other joints in our body. In her case, she says, after having to use a walker for 10 months before surgery and then another 3 to 4 months after surgery, her knees are no longer manageable. She says the longer waiting time is a false economy. When will the government make the changes so that 6 months is the maximum waiting time for hip replacement surgery as CIHI recommends?
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Active Living.
Well, the member is quite right that there are too many people in Manitoba who have been on long wait lists for years and years and years. It is exactly the rationale we have in place for transforming our healthcare system to be able to reduce wait times. And while we sympathize with anyone who's waiting for those necessary surgeries, I would remind that member that only recently our government invested another $5.3 million to purchase an additional 1,000 hip and knee surgeries and 2,000 cataract surgeries that are right now taking place.
The Honourable Member for River Heights on a supplementary question.
Madam Speaker, I table information showing that the recent wait times are among the worst in Canada. Madam Speaker, Rhonda Grist writes, and I quote, she's referring to the Premier, you mentioned that your government was having some difficulty getting the doctors to work as they were away on vacation in warm places. Rhonda Grist says, certainly your statement doesn't reflect the attitude of the orthopedic surgeons. She says at her first meeting with her surgeon, he stated he was finished his surgeries by 1 p.m. every day, and he was most unhappy about that. He wanted longer hours, and although he has received them since, I ask the Premier to apologize to the many hardworking doctors who he has offended with his comments.
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Active Living.
The member for River Heights actually makes our point. The purpose of the province's clinical and preventative services plan that is going on in the province and reporting back to government this spring is exactly for the purpose of doing system planning at a coherent level and not a site level. It is exactly our commitment to this goal that will in future help us to plan better, help us to make full use of system resources, help medical practitioners work to the fullest scope of practice. I thank the member for making our point that a change for the better in Manitoba healthcare is coming, and that at the focus of all this is better healthcare sooner for all Manitobans.
The Honourable Member for River Heights on a final supplementary.
Yeah. Madam Speaker, the government has been promising that for more than 3 years, and not much has changed. Madam Speaker, Mr. Harban Singh Brar needs knee replacement surgery. He has been immobilized by his current condition and the pain. He's been told that he will have to wait a total of 15 months from the time he first got an appointment with his surgeon until his surgery, which would mean 7 more months from today to December. The wait time should be no longer than 6 months, as CIHI recommends. Instead, waiting times for knee surgery in Manitoba are among the longest in Canada, as the document I tabled showed. Why is the Pallister government trying to blame doctors instead of acting as it should to work with doctors to reduce the waiting times?
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Active Living.
Madam Speaker, the member can't have it both ways. He's calling for shorter wait times, but he's part of a party federally that has made cuts to health care across the board. I was at the meetings, along with the member for Steinbach, where the federal government said there will be less of an incremental increase each year for health care. At one time, that member knows the federal government was a 50% partner in the provision of health care in the provinces. In Manitoba right now, 18%. And going to be a whole of $2 billion over the course of 10 years. If he's standing up for health care, have him pick up the phone, call his federal government, and tell them to reinstate the funding for Manitoba.